part 2 of our Rally of the Heartland adventure, and continuing on from where we left off. We boarded a plane and flew to Adelaide a couple of days ahead of the rally because we had to pick up a hire truck and then head up from Adelaide about 170 kilometres to a town called Clare, roughly 40 kilometres from the rally base in Burra. Let this be a lesson, kids, about using Google Maps. It took us on a bit of a strange route that ended up on a section of gravel which resembled a stage more than it did a road. Once at our destination, we had to pick up enough food to feed a small army before we could check into our accommodation for the weekend and get the maps out to confirm where the rally would take us. Okay, so this morning we're on our way to Burra. It's Thursday morning before the rally. Rally starts tomorrow, which is Anzac Day. So we're taking a casual drive over to go and get ourselves organised, some bits and pieces, food, meet up with the team, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, we'll get all that done, so we'll see you in Burra. Already we are beginning to set up in the service park, which probably isn't that easy to see behind me here, which is in the Paxton Square in the centre of Burra. We're going to be doing some of the servicing out of here, and we're also going to be doing some of the servicing remotely a bit further up the road, about 60 odd k's or so. So at the moment we're just in the process of getting bits and pieces done. We're waiting for the semi-trailer to arrive so that we can unload the cars out of that and all of our tools and spares, get them all loaded into this rig here, and then we'll be another step closer. Yep. Yep, you're right. Roll. Yeah. Normally that's the anchor to that junction. I'll hit 0.
Yeah, it's about 10:30 now,
yeah.
And we're still working on notes and going through the road book before the rally tomorrow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Dedication.
Dedication, all right.
Yeah. Friday morning, Anzac Day has dawned a bit on the overcast side. Hopefully we don't get any rain. And now it's time to get our service area all set up. Day 2 of Rally of the Heartland, and the weather looks quite nice today. Today I'm in the passenger seat for a bit and my co-driver is driving, so I just get to hold the camera. It was an early start again this morning. We're up at 6 and it's just after 7 now, on our way across from Clare to Burra to the service park again. Day 1 yesterday was a really big day. We're pretty tired already and we've still got a few more days of this to go yet. So, day 1 in our team. Where do I begin with that? It was, it was rallying. So, first up we'll start with Glenn and Max in the VR4 because they led the team away yesterday morning. Stage 1 went fine.
200, 100, here it is, road goes left. Into 290, straight on, over crest. That's just here, straight on. Into 600 rough, slight right, just at the top here. 300, 200, 100 rough. 2.8 is your next call.
Stage 2, unfortunately, they had a bit of a drama. Went a little bit wide on a left-hand corner. There was a hole on the outside there, put the left rear wheel into that hole sideways, and unfortunately as they bumped the wheel there, it snapped the rear trailing arm, broke it clean off, and unfortunately yesterday they weren't able to go any further. We organised a rescue mission straight away to go and get them. However, by the time we could get into the stage and then get through it all and recover them, it was well after 6:30 last night, so we'll get back to them shortly. Next up, also having a little bit of drama, was Damien Gayton. Nothing wrong with the car, the Forest Weapon, the GC, all was running fine. However, Gayton got a little bit unwell, motion sickness, and then got some serious cramps in stage 2. They had to stop for a few minutes, I think about 5 minutes they lost, before they could get him sorted and get going again. And I'll come back to them as well, but the rest of the afternoon went okay for them. For the escort, so Shane and Dermot, they didn't do too badly yesterday. They had a pretty straightforward run through the day. The only real issue with the escort was the misfire. The cars was misfiring again. We know what the problem is. It's traced back to spark plugs, and basically there's been some sort of questionable assembly in the engine long time prior to us getting the car, obviously, and they have machined, what we think has happened is that they've machined the cylinder head too much, and so the spark plugs are too close to the pistons. The pistons are actually hitting the spark plugs, and they're knocking the spark plug gap down to 0, to basically closed up, and then that's causing a misfire. So we've tried a couple of times with a couple of different solutions with the spark plugs to work that out, and hopefully now we've got it. So they got through the whole day yesterday. At the last service, we were out remotely about 60 kilometres out of Burra yesterday at a small town called Tarawee, and we discovered that they'd also snapped one of the arms on the rear suspension. One of the links, instead of having 6 arms on there, they've got 5 now. We actually had to remove that arm out. The rose joint's just completely torn out. We don't have a spare one of those. It shouldn't affect the car too much. The last stage of the day was an 81 kilometre stage, so a very long stage in the dark. However, there was no breeze, and we'd also had a fair bit of rain on the way out to Tarawee. However, it didn't rain there. The dust was just hanging, and they also had fog as well. So the speeds were quite slow. They said at times they were doing 10, 15 k's an hour, maybe 50 k's an hour, they think is a max through that stage. So yeah, it was a very, very slow stage for them. Talking of Tarawee, unfortunately Gayton got really, really ill on the second last stage in the dark, before the 80 kilometre stage, so before the last service, and they had to make the decision that they had to withdraw. So we checked the car out, got everything right and good, and then yeah, we sent them back to Burra, and yeah, that was the wrap of day 1. Now, something I would like to say while I have the opportunity is I'm really thankful that we're in this sport. It doesn't matter whether you're in Western Australia or whether you're in South Australia or any other state for that matter. The rally community really supports each other and helps each other out. Now, yesterday we had to zip off for remote service, so we had to take the truck and all the gear with us, and the VR4 got back pretty much as we had loaded the truck to take off. So we were looking down the barrel of having to get back very late, probably after midnight, and then start work on trying to repair the VR4. However, our fellow competitors and teams around us all rallied, and they helped us out, and they ripped out the rear arm, got it welded up, and got it all back together again, with the help of a few of our crew who were still in Burra. So thank you very much to everybody. That's much appreciated for your help to be able to get them on the road. We haven't sustained much damage to the VR4 as far as we can tell, so we should be good to go today with no dramas. Also, a big thank you and a shout out to everybody that's been coming over during the rally, or I've walked into people. Sometimes I've only managed to get like 100 metres down a road or wherever I'm going before somebody stops me and has a chat about our YouTube videos and channel. So thank you very much to that. That's much appreciated. So I often wonder who it is that watches our channel, and I guess we're meeting some of them now. So thank you for that. Of course, the Rally of the Heartland isn't just about our team. There's plenty of other cars and competitors in it as well. It's very popular, and so teams come from all over Australia to compete. We did have a few WA teams that made the trek, and one of those was Shane Ether with Steve Vass alongside. They developed a bit of a drama on day one when the camshaft failed due to an oiling problem. With some stiff tenacity, they went and found a second-hand cylinder head from somewhere nearby to Burra, grabbed that, brought it back to the service park, did a bit of tinkering and got it back on the engine and got the car running to go ahead and finish the rally. Okay, so we're already on to day 3 of the rally. However, we better do a bit of a recap of day 2 of the Rally of the Heartland. So for our team, it was really a bit of moving and shaking. Unfortunately, well, it's rallying really, it didn't kind of pan out exactly as we'd wanted. So we started the day with all 3 cars running, which is great. It was a good way to start. However, by the end of the day, we were down to 1 car. So unfortunately, first up was the VR4. The car was running well earlier on in the day, however it came into service and there was an ominous rumble coming from the gearbox. Unfortunately, we think it's broken the transfer case in there. We don't want to risk running it any further, so Glenn and Max had to withdraw. Also, unfortunately, Gaetan's motion sickness was getting the better of him, and 20 k's into a 70k stage, they had to withdraw. Unfortunately, Gaetan just got too sick to continue, which is a little bit disappointing. Also, 3 cars really, because on top of that, the Escort with Shane and Dermot gave trouble. The clutch did something strange and basically they had no clutch, so we had to send a trailer out to recover them. So as it turns out, we were able to get the Escort back, tinker around with it and managed to get them enough clutch to keep going. However, the Escort had developed a bit of a misfire. We did have a good go at trying to sort that out, and we have had misfiring issues on and off with the car. This time around, it didn't seem like an electrical misfire, and after they did one stage later in the day in the dark, the car was really running pretty badly and they decided to withdraw from day 2. The VR4 also was parked up on stands and didn't go any further, so that was a bit of a shame. And then we were in a bit of a conundrum as what to do, because the actual Subaru was running fine. And after a little bit of discussion and a bit of moving around and reshuffling, Glenn decided to gamely jump in and navigate for Damien for the remainder of day 2. And they went out and had an absolute ball on the night stages, even setting times well inside the top 10 with a top 5th and a top 6 on a couple of stages. So that was pretty awesome. So that brings us on to day 3. Now, we did have a lengthy discussion this morning about whether we could get the Escort going again, and in the end, Shane and Dermot opted, look, if the car's not running right or it's potentially going to give us trouble again, that's it for the weekend. We'll pack it up and then just spectate. So that leaves us with 1 car, which is, again, Damien and Glenn out together, and they have gone off to do the stages. Now, we have had one report that the car is idling a little bit funny and the idle RPM is very high. However, it doesn't seem to be affecting them. We did get a chance very quickly to get out to a spectator point and have a look, and they seem to be going well. The boys came in for the final service, and sure enough, the Subaru was idling almost at redline. A couple of minutes tinkering around with the laptop, and it was all sorted. The rest of the service was just our usual maintenance checks. Whilst we packed up everything into the truck for the weekend, the boys headed out. The final stage would be Diesel and Dust, so named because it passes an old farm building used on the iconic album cover from Australian band Midnight Oil's Diesel and Dust album from the 1980s. How did Damien and Glenn fare on the last stage? Well, Max, I think you've summed it up for us. On reflection, the 2025 Rally of the Heartland had been a huge effort. We started planning months in advance to get 3 cars, 6 competitors and 8 service crew through over 500 kilometres of special stages in some of the most spectacular country in Australia. Now all that was left to be done was to pack everything up into the semi-trailer and send it home. Right, so that's pretty much the end of the Rally of the Heartland. It has been a massive event for us. Hope you've enjoyed being on the journey with us. Thanks very much for watching. Please give us a like, it's important for the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe, and we'll catch you again soon. Cheers.